Additional inches of rain to come. We're going to keep close tabs on this, guys. We're going to run all through the night. Brian and Cassie will start mixing in coverage a little bit later, but it's going to be a very wet, stormy. If you have power now, great. We're probably going to have many of you lose power progressively throughout the night as we have saturated ground. The trees are blowing on through, and Dave and I are still analyzing all the data still coming in, and yeah, that's what we do. We'll have more coming up.
And you do it very well, both of you. Thank you so much. Decades of experience from our team of meteorologists from the morning to the night. We have you covered. Our team is simply the best.
Yeah, and they also are staying safe. We just got a sweet text from Shannon Butler's daughter.
She texted me Manhattan and she said, please keep my mom safe. And I told her we will. But Shannon is a veteran at this, as you know, and she's not going to do anything to hurt herself. And she's going to get back to her family in one piece.
And she is in the line of fire tonight. Shannon, we got a nice note there from beautiful daughter of yours who's worried about mommy tonight.
Yeah, I imagine it's not fun for my family at all. So we're talking about that flash flooding in Tampa. We want to turn around here. We've got a little bit of a different angle. That's what we're dealing with right outside. Can you see? Look at that is a main road here in Tampa. It is just covered in water. If I shine the light here on the fire hydrant, you can see a little better. That is flash flooding. It is coming into possibly this restaurant right here next door. Can you guys hear that wind and howling and all of that clicking and clanking like that? That is stuff that is breaking apart, that is coming down, trees that are coming down. There is flash flooding all over. I mean, we can look at 275 here. We can see, oh, there goes our roof. The shingles on our roof on this side are coming off too. But there's so much water that's coming in. We can't see because of these trees right now, but we believe that the water is starting to creep into these businesses along this road here. The water, I didn't expect the flash flooding. We knew that we'd get storm surge. We knew that we'd get wind. We knew we'd get rain, those tornadoes. But now we're dealing with flash flooding all over the Tampa Bay area. The power is going out in droves, as you can imagine, and you can hear this wind just howling. This has been going on, careful, this has been going on for the last couple of hours. The wind, sustained winds, and then you've got these wind gusts that are catching things like these trees and the light poles. It's just incredible, and we are up off the ground only because of all of that stuff that is flying around. It is so dark out here, and because of that flash flooding, it wasn't safe for us to stand out there because we just don't know where that water is going. It's interesting when you go to a different town to cover a hurricane when we're not in Orlando. You don't know the area as well as we do Orlando. You can know where to go, what will flood and what won't flood. In this case, I mean, I think even if we were in Orlando, we wouldn't know. There's just so much happening here in this storm that you have to be really, really careful. This is why those mandatory evacuations were underway. This is why people are supposed to shelter in place right now. We are getting reports of damage in structures in Sarasota, in Tampa, Pinellas County, all of that. There is going to be significant damage, significant water damage, and of course this wind. I mean, listen to that howling here behind me.
Yeah, the sound tells the story.
So loud, it's like it's roaring.
Gosh, you just listen to that.
And the water bubbling up, and you could hear it and see those shingles or those tiles that are coming off of the roof right there. Powerful. Mother Nature's powerful, and as when we were talking to Tampa's mayor, she said, Mother Nature wins each and every time, and that's why they were imploring folks to get out.
Yeah, and the forecasting has been really right on if you think about it. I know people go, well, there was a little bit of wobble south, but all of those areas that were supposed to be impacted are being impacted by this storm. And again, as we like to say, we've got you, we're prepared, and we are basically next in line for this storm that continues to roar across Florida.
Right, an area, Greg, that's had some significant flooding problems is Delaney Park. We've had reporter Giovanni Diaz out there the past 2 weeks talking to residents, and right now our Nick Pampantonis is there because Nick, folks there are just so concerned about the flooding they've been dealing with, and now with this storm they're really concerned.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens the next couple hours. We've been in, unlike Shannon, in a little bit of a lull in between bands here in the city of Orlando for the last hour. And so if you made it through that last hour with your power, you're enjoying it for a little while longer. This is frankly the worst that we could find in our journeys around Orlando. This one live oak branch that came down sometime in the early hours of the storm. We also have on this particular street some localized street flooding here. So when we talk about the flooding, the ponds still have capacity. All these lakes that are around this neighborhood, there's still some room to go in terms of water retention and collection. This just happens to be, it could be a blocked storm drain, it could be something else that's keeping the water in place on this one particular road, but it's just this stretch. We do have reports of power outages in the Winter Garden area. We drove a stretch of East Colonial. That's power is also out. So there is localized power outages going on. We're seeing the blue flashes in the sky as we are driving around here. So we know that is happening. But for right now, as you can tell, it's very calm here in the city of Orlando. We're watching that radar that Tom and David are showing everybody, and we're seeing those bands coming our way. So we know this is probably it until the main event comes. And once that main event comes, we're going to be in it. And that is what we're going to be watching for. If you have reports of stuff happening in the Orlando area, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be able to come to your neighborhood as well. For now, live in Delaney Park, Nick Papantonis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Nick, thanks so much.
We're going to continue our coverage as well. We're going to take a quick break as we continue to take you all around Florida. It's a little after 10:11 right now, and we are expecting, once we hit that midnight hour, at least in the heart of Central Florida, we may have some similar experiences to what Shannon Butler is going through right now. We also have someone set up who just went through the eye of the storm, a former Orlando resident now living in Southwest Florida, and we have some pictures of what people are doing in Central Florida to deal with the anxiety of the storm that is impacting all of us tonight. Milton.
It's hurricane season. Our team in Severe Weather Center 9 is here to keep you and your family prepared. WFTV.com is your source for everything you need before, during, and after a storm. Go to WFTV.com/tropics and track every storm's path with our interactive tracker. Check out our weather live stream 24/7. This hurricane season, be prepared with WFTV.com.
Eye on the Tropics on WFTV.com is sponsored by OUC and Storm One Claims Public Adjusters.
All right, welcome back. Right now, we're going to show you live pictures of Tampa, where the winds are pushing over 83 miles per hour right now as Hurricane Milton made landfall just after 8:30 at Siesta Key. And we've seen the wind, the sheets of rain coming down like that where our reporter Shannon Butler is. We've seen the tiles begin to come off the roof of the hotel she's in, and the water's looking like rivers in some areas.
Yeah, and just a minute ago, Tom, and he's right over my shoulder, 79 mile per hour wind gust in Winter Haven. And as he said, yeah, that train's a-coming. I'm Greg Warmonth along with Martha Sagowski. Let's bring in one of our good friends who used to sit in this anchor chair. Now he's working in Atlanta, but he came back to help us out. And I want to bring George in for some historical perspective. He is in downtown Orlando, and he knows what can happen to those beautiful oak trees, and that storm is coming. And our streets in downtown, they're beautiful, they're old, and they don't do well with a lot of water, George.
They don't do well with a lot of water, Greg and Martha and everyone at home here in Central Florida. You know, it's great to be here and let you guys in on just kind of some of the pictures and some of the things we're seeing out here. And yes, perspective is really everything. When you talk about the cobblestone streets and many of our little old quaint towns in Central Florida, you talk about the storm system, what they can and cannot handle. So I'm going to step back into the intersection. We're on Central Boulevard, where all their shops are. There's a Publix down the road, a couple of buildings, and in the heart of downtown, Lake Yellow is right behind me. So for those of you who come here to the farmers market, to this park here, you know what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm just a couple of miles north of where Nick Papantonis was in Delaney Park, and it's gusty, sure. It's drizzly, sure. I don't have my hood on. So this is what comes and goes, and this is what you get, Greg and Martha, when you talk about these storms, and which is why it's important to go to Shannon, talk to her, see those pictures, because as Greg, you talked about, that train's coming this way. We know all this too well, especially when talking about 2004, when that train was Charlie and went to Punta Gorda, and then we know what Charlie did as he came here, don't we?
George, great perspective. You've been covering storms for so long, and I know yesterday you were out and about to an area. You used to live, I know, around Lake Eola, and the concern there has also been that drainage system. And I know that you talked to Patty Sheehan yesterday, and she was concerned. She wanted to make sure that folks had gone around their lawns and picked up any debris that might get into the drainage system. Have you been seeing any debris out there, or are people taking the warning and picking their stuff up?
You know what? They are picking this stuff up because that's left over from when you guys were covering Hurricane Helene, and people did what they're supposed to do. They grab their yard stuff, they clean up their yard, and they put it out in the front. I was talking to Patty. She was saying the challenge with that was, and that can happen in towns and cities all across Central Florida, affected by anything really, crews, contractors, people who do that sort of stuff. They're in North Carolina. They're on the coast. So they're busy handling other more impacted neighborhoods. So that's going to have to wait. So a lot of people, Martha, your point, they were grabbing the stuff, putting it in bags and putting it in their backyard in a safe place, right? In a corner. That's not going to blow around when we're talking about those wind gusts and those sustained winds in the double digits that are going to come this way eventually overnight. So that's really important. But I have seen, and I was in Delaney Park where Nick was, some of the yard stuff still out there. And it's not because that's going to do much damage to people. We know it's not, but it's going to clog storm drains. Like over here at LeVar, if we can just kind of come over here again. This is one of the storm drains I'm talking about still, and it's covered. I kicked it over just to try and do something, but you can still see a lot of the leaves and stuff from all the old trees that Greg was talking about, the beautiful trees, the oaks and the laurel oaks that we had, and I had in my backyard when I was here. And those, when those come down, you don't want to be underneath one of those. So that's one of the things that we always let people know and say, with the years of covering these hurricanes, stay inside, do what you can. You know, some businesses here on the front doors put up some sandbags. Can we zoom over here? They put up some sandbags over here just because, you know, the water, if it does go a couple of inches, they don't want it to go into their front door. See, the wind's picking up a little bit here right now. And by the way, that viewer in that apartment window is still watching Channel 9 Eyewitness News. I wish that viewer would actually open the window and just wave. Like, I'm going to wave. Maybe the viewer will wave back.
That's a smart viewer.
Right
we like those viewers.
At your window. What?
We like those viewers. They're smart viewers. I'm sure happy to have you back in town to have coverage.
And they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're inside and they're watching, and hopefully they have, you know, enough food. And see the and there we go. And the hat came off. The hat officially came off. I'm gonna get inside here where I am not in the line of wind. So yeah, that is what's gonna happen. So now I'm gonna go and find my hat and do more reporting for you guys.
All right, thank you, George. We appreciate it. It does remind me of 2004, and for those that haven't been here, they hear us referencing that. And get your hat, George, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. But what we had happen there was all the trees went down, and out here in front of Channel 9, right on top of my Jeep.
That was your car? That's right.
Yeah, and there was an oak tree. So it depends on where you live. Everybody has different things that they're dealing with. And in Winter Haven right now, you are under the gun. I know a lot of power is popping and it is coming off. So we're on the radio, we're on television for you, and we are expecting these impacts to be widespread. We've had a number of confirmed tornadoes up and down the Atlantic coast. And Martha, one of the interesting things in terms of the size of the storm, you think of it as being west to east, but also to the south. There was a major injury providing a tornado in Miami, and also there was a big tornado today that touched down. We've got video of this one, and this one is from Palm Beach Gardens. This was just hours before Hurricane Milton made landfall.
Yeah, Palm Beach Gardens is just the northern part of Palm Beach County. My mother actually lives down there. Channel 9 anchor Alex Walker joining us now with some video of serious damage, Alex.
Yeah, serious damage. Earlier this afternoon, a confirmed tornado touched down near Palm Beach Gardens. We have received video of some of the extensive damage to a neighborhood. I'm going to let this video breathe for you just to show you how ripped apart this neighborhood is. Parts of the roof have been completely torn off. And look across the street here in a second. Cars completely flipped over. And that is the case up and down the street in this neighborhood. It looks like a bomb went off in this area. Just awful to see all of that damage. And you're going to see here in a couple of seconds in this video, the person that gave us this is going to drive down the street as well. And you can just see how ripped apart everything is in that Palm Beach Gardens neighborhood. Just extensive damage from one of the tornadoes we have confirmed that have touched down here on the Atlantic coast because of Hurricane Milton. And now that Hurricane Milton has made landfall, we'll start to see images and videos of the damage on the Gulf Coast. We will show you that throughout the night. Greg and Martha, back to you.
Alex,
That
thanks
was
so much.
Impressive, you know, and Tom Terry is back with us here. Tom, you are seeing those images from Palm Beach Gardens for the first time, as we are. We also had the tornado that happened in Miami. People got hurt there. We saw them in Brevard County. I mean, they're everywhere.
This was a prime setup. When I got up this morning and I could see the fact that the radar we were clear in South Florida, I went, uh-oh. That means that gives them that open runway to really get spun up. Those tornadoes, we had the damage over in Cocoa Beach. That was a confirmed tornado. I want to talk about flooding, though, now, because it's just a harrowing night over in Tampa. And if you're joining us, welcome to Central Florida. We're going to be getting some of this, but not all of this that they've gotten over in Tampa. But I want to show you, first of all, I'm going to walk over here. We're down to a Cat 2 now. This is all according to forecast, right on the mark. But what I'm really worried about is this northern semicircle of the eye, which is now kind of blowing a little bit ahead of the main storm. We had the flash flood emergency we talked about in the Tampa area, where it's just been extremely heavy rain. Up by the USF campus, about a foot of rain. It's about 2 feet of rain over in Pinellas County, and this is a really heavy rain core. And I want you to notice too, the flash flood emergency is advancing east, so it includes all of Polk County, southern sections of Sumter County as well. So this flash flood emergency goes on till 4 a.m. here, and we're right on the doorstep of perhaps extending it into northern Osceola County. So this was part of that 12 inches of rain that we talked about to expect, and this would be kind of fitting in with that possible. We have a flash flood warning right now, but flash flood emergency is that highest level where it's just flooding in people's homes and it's a mess. So we're really watching out here through northern Osceola County, Metro Orlando. We've had about 5 inches at the Terry House in Rock Springs up in Apopka. We continue to see some heavy rainfall for Daytona Beach, and these are just some of the radar estimates so far: 7, 10, 10, 12, and underneath that banner it's about 18 to 20 over in Tampa. Current wind gusts now 83, 84 over there. We saw over 114, something like that earlier on today. These are the live wind gusts. Look at Daytona Beach, 69 right now, and the hurricane's over 100 miles away. So it's going to be a very long night for you. You can tell the winds have dropped off as expected to the north, but it's still going to be extremely windy, especially overnight tonight as the hurricane physically moves closer. We're 79 in Winter Haven on the wind gusts, and I just added that to the tote board. So Leesburg 71 earlier, 64 in Daytona. Power outages continue to climb here, especially where we've had the highest winds and rain. Very high power outages through that. And we'll get a new track here coming up soon. It's not going to change that much. We're going to move this across as a Category 1 hurricane through the overnight hours. And the big wind field is still over here by Tampa. But you can see the swirling nature. That is the heaviest winds that are going to be moving in along with the heavy rainfall. So this could also initiate widespread flooding from the east side of Davenport through Kissimmee, through Point Siena, Four Corners, Claremont, the Bay Hill area, downtown Sanford. Probably another 6 to 10 inches of rain are possible on top of the 5 inches or so we've had. And it's going to continue well into the night here. This is 7 o'clock in the morning with the hurricane starting to move offshore. We will have an unrelenting wind and rain for several hours, and we'll also have storm surge, guys, along our especially northern coast, and we'll continue to see if we get any surge in Brevard County as well. But this is what we've been talking ad nauseum about forever, and it's coming to fruition, and it's going to be a long night, but we're going to get you through this.
All right, Tom, thank you. Let's take a live look right now at Lake County. You know, the villages are part of Lake County. We've gotten some viewer reaction. They're saying that we have some lights that have flickered. They've gone off. They've gone on, back on. And now we have a lot of wind. That's Lake Dora, and that's a beautiful part of Lake County. And this is in the Tavares area. And
look at the stop sign waving, blowing sideways again, the rain there, but the lights are still on. For the most part, we'll see what happens as the night moves on.
One of our fastest growing areas, Lake County, and not just because of the villages, but because it's a beautiful area that has a, great topography, rolling hills, and tonight, folks, they're just as worried as everybody else about what this storm means to them. We'll let you know what we can expect for Lake County and beyond as we cover 9 counties in all of Florida tonight as we track Milton for you with our continuing coverage.
All right, we are bringing you live coverage right now of tracking Milton as you look live in Tampa, where sheets of rain are coming down at this hour. Look at that. Again, Milton making landfall just after 8:30 in Siesta Key. And it is blowing hard there in Tampa right now. You can see the power poles moving. We've seen sidewalks turn into rivers with the amount of water that is rising from what Milton is dumping in this area, Greg.
110-mile-per-hour winds, if I read this correctly, over Tom's shoulder. Good evening. I'm Greg Wormuth along with Martha Sagowski. We continue our coverage. We'll take you live there to one of our reporters who is stationed in a safe spot. And when you think
flash
about
flood emergency, in fact, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is such a mess, and there are people that are reporting, and I'm looking at some of the social media, they are so concerned about Sarasota right now, basically underwater.
Yeah, huge surge to the south. Not as high of a surge in Tampa, but they got a flash flood, a 1 in 500-year flood, where I've had rain gauges over 22 inches of rain.
St. Pete is getting crushed.
Incredible rainfall and wind and damage, so that'll be part of this story as well. And the heavy rain is on the move. Let me show this to you right now. We'll be getting a new advisory here shortly. We have been locked in, relatively speaking, on this track now for the last 12, 18 hours or so. It's been a little bit wonky of a storm, but we've been trying to give you the best information as we get it. This area of rain right here is what I'm concerned about, because we have a flash flood emergency out for Tampa. The heaviest rain rates are now moving out of Tampa and are swinging across eastern Hillsborough County, northern sections of Polk County, heading toward Winter Haven on the north side of the I. And we told you this would happen, the dry air down here, but convergence and the winds are coming together and the rain rates are incredibly high across the I-4 corridor. And flash flood emergency, where you see this red flash flood emergency, southern sections of that's going to be right around Highway 50 South. That's the Green Swamp State Forest, so relatively sparsely populated, but a whole bunch of rain coming up through Four Corners, Celebration. We already have flood warnings out for the Kissimmee St. Cloud area, but I'm concerned you're going to get into perhaps a flash flood emergency for you as well, which means imminent flooding is coming into homes and things like that. So very heavy rain. We have flash flood warnings, just a good old-fashioned flash flood warning, which is bad enough for Orange County. And again, as we widen out the vantage point, I want to give you an idea roughly of the rain we've had so far. And we've had some little strips here along the coast, mainly from the outer squalls that were bringing tornadoes earlier today, where you see the brighter colors. You will not get that much more rain. The heaviest rain is going to be ongoing to the north and right where we painted the picture for you over the last several days. And this is early warning future track, and this is from now through Thursday evening. Lesser amounts of rain to the north. This may be too low, but you get the idea. The heavy rain will be along that northern boundary as it comes through. Another foot is possible across the area. Live wind gusts right now 70 in Daytona Beach. You're over 100+ miles away from the storm, and it's already 70, so it's going to get windy. Hurricane warnings were in place for a reason. 79 in Winter Haven, and I've been watching some of the outer winds around this storm right now. Well over 60 miles per hour. That's coming in from the terminal Doppler, which we were using earlier to watch tornadoes. So the track continues through the Polk County area and eventually over toward Brevard County by daybreak in the morning. And winds will probably be down to around 85 miles an hour or so, only 85. It's going to be a very windy and stormy night. And you can see this happening, what we've been tracking and telling you about happening with our forecast model, this elongation stretching out of the heavy rain threat along I-4 through midnight 30. This is Winter Haven, Claremont, Orlando. This is why I think we may extend a flash flood emergency over into parts of Osceola and Orange County. Whether we do or not, it's very heavy rainfall still on the way, on top of the roughly 5 to 7 inches of rain we've had in parts of Orange County. I know it's about 5 1/4 up in Apopka right now. I just checked my neighbor's rain gauge. You can see 6:30, very heavy rain still hammering the East Coast as well. And I wanted to show you the wind speeds here. Early warning future track, just one snapshot in time, if you will, at midnight. We're still 74 over at New Smyrna Beach, 70 in Cocoa, gusting here. And you can see where the winds start to taper off a little bit. That'll be because we're getting near the center of the system. It'll probably be just to the south, but very strong winds on the north side, 70, 73, 82 And earlier, the model was showing 89 over in New Smyrna. I think it just passed through there, the data query. So you can see very strong winds. And this is after daybreak in the morning. The hurricane is offshore and the winds will start switching back in. But a very, very stormy, squally mess. And safety tips for us: stay away from debris. We're going to have down power lines and trees. Use those portable generators very safely. Keep them outside the garage. Put them outdoors. They're going to be just fine. Make sure you document the damage. Hopefully you took those pictures before the storm arrived so you could kind of differentiate between maybe issues you had before and the issues you're going to have after this hurricane. We're just watching. It's going to be a very long night. Our whole team is watching this. Not our first rodeo. We're going to get you through this, but this is by far one of the most significant hurricanes that we've dealt with here in Central Florida, and the worst is still going to be on the way for us tonight.
Some sad news to report. Breaking news tonight. Several news agencies in South Florida are reporting multiple deaths because of tornadic activity down in Port St. Lucie, and apparently some of those deaths are elderly folks. And again, we have seen the imagery from there. We're going to try to get any kind of ages or what the situation was, but I'm looking at images that are coming in on my phone and that we've shown you before, and just a massive blast from a tornado has claimed lives in South Florida.
All right, Channel 9 Shannon Butler, who is a veteran storm chaser for us here at Channel 9. She is joining us live with her photographer Gary in Tampa right now. Shannon, every time we go to you, it just seems to get worse and worse. In fact, it's so bad that you can't even be outside on the ground covering this storm. You are protecting yourself with some shelter.
Yeah, and usually by now things seem to subside, but they are not subsiding here at all. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see that flash flooding is just getting worse and worse by the minute. You can see just how much water is pulled up on. That is a main roadway through Tampa that is completely submerged underwater. It seems like the rain may be letting up a little bit. I know that's hard to tell because of the wind, but the wind gusts have been so significant that we have to come back against the wall, and we're covered with a roof back against the wall because the winds are so strong here. The roof on this hotel is starting to lose more and more tiles. You can hear the clanging most of the evening, and that's the tiles coming off the roof here. We suspect that many of the roofs in Tampa Bay will be damaged given the amount of wind there is right now. It's hard to tell when you look across here into those buildings. There's so much water on the roads, you can't determine where one ends and one begins. It's just one big pool. Carrie, swing around here just past this road here. Those trees over there, I don't know how much you can see, but that is all water. I can't tell where the road is, where the parking lot is. There's a school across the street from us. Their entire parking lot is going up to the door. There is so much water pooling on these roads. That flash flooding is legit. I mean, it is happening all over this city right now. There is water everywhere.
And we've heard about the flash flood possibilities there. You can see the rain, and it seems to almost be, Shannon, switching directions at times. You know, we saw it looks like it coming from would be our left, your right, and now it looks like it switched back. Are you seeing the winds change a little bit, or what are you experiencing?
Yeah, and that's not unusual when it comes on shore like this. We do sometimes try to set up where we're not getting the wind right in our face, and then a few minutes later we made the wrong decision. So that is not unusual, but there is definitely a shift in the storm in just the last probably half hour or so. We think we're getting a break. Like right now, it's like, okay, maybe this thing is starting to move on, and then a second later, see those wind gusts just continue to pound this area. There is going to be significant damage everywhere.
I just checked with, thank you, Shannon and Carrie, for that great cover. I just checked with Tom, and he said that you guys are getting behind it. The eye has passed you, so those winds and that you're experiencing, the heart of the storm has moved by. So there you go.
All right, we're going to check in now closer to home with our Ashlyn Webb, who has been set up in Volusia County in Daytona Beach. And the last time we checked in with her, winds were gusting at about 64 miles an hour. Ashlyn, is it getting worse? Getting steady? What do you got for us?
Yeah, it is continuing to pick up here. We're actually under an overhang right now, so we're in a little bit of a safer area, at least for now. But you can see it is beginning to pick up more and more. And you can see just the palm trees being whipped in the wind. Water being pushed down the road. Just getting the latest readings from David Heckert. He was saying 68, 69 mile per hour winds, wind gusts measured from Daytona Beach International Airport. And it's beginning to pick up more and more. We're seeing police also monitoring this area, just making sure that people are off the roads. That curfew took effect here at 8 p.m. and it's really important just because we are seeing things being blown in the wind, including what I'm standing on right now. Actually, just a couple moments ago, the reason why I'm under this overhang right now is because this piece of metal was airborne. That is fatal if somebody is hit by that. And so it is important to listen to this curfew, stay indoors, because there is all sorts of things being blown in the wind. We've seen trees, debris in the road. We saw what looked to be this larger basket of sorts or container being blown across the road also. I mean, things are really getting dangerous out here. We're going to continue to monitor the conditions, but for now, reporting in Daytona Beach, Ashlyn Webb, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Stay safe, Ashlyn. Thanks so much.
We'll be back as we continue our coverage. We'll take you around the horn again, get you updated on what's happening where and who's feeling the major impacts. As I look out on our cameras over Orlando, we can see it starting to blow here, and reporters are clamoring to tell you what's happening where they are, and you will hear from all of them as we come back on our Tracking Milton coverage here on Channel 9.
As Milton makes landfall, Channel 9 Eyewitness News will continue to keep you informed with team coverage throughout Central Florida.
This is the largest storm mobilization in Florida history.
With constant updates from Chief Meteorologist Tom Terry and the Severe Weather Center 9 team.
Tracking one of the larger tornado outbreaks that I've done here in 28 years.
Updating you on power outages, road closures, and areas most impacted before, during, and after the storm. Depend on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, welcome back. We are bringing you pictures of Siesta Key, where Milton made landfall just after 8:30. For those of you who don't know where Siesta Key is, it's a barrier island in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Sarasota. It's known for its beautiful sandy beaches, but as you can see, it is getting pummeled right now. It came ashore as a Cat 3 storm, bending those palm trees. The wind is howling and the rain is coming down. And hopefully the people who were there got out.
This was one of the areas where there was the mandatory evacuation, Martha, and you can see why. I mean, I know this was south of the original target, which was Tampa, but not that much further south. And this is where we had landfall. And we had landfall that smacked Siesta Key. It's really hit Fort Myers hard. We've told you about the people who have already been confirmed to have been killed by a tornadic activity on the other side of Florida. You know, that's happened there in the St. Lucie area, and now we are focused on what's going to happen for us. One of the communities that's starting to feel the winds pick up is in Osceola County.
Yeah, specifically Kissimmee. We want to check in with our Daryl Matthews, who is live downtown. Daryl, what are the conditions like there? Got a lot of wind and rain, I see.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of wind that's really picking up out here, Martha, Greg. As you can see, it's really pushing, and you can hear it howling throughout. We're off of 192 right now, completely empty, full of cars. But we did notice about 2 transformers blew on the top of 192 not too long ago, and it's completely dark. But I'm going to let you see what we're actually experiencing out here, this wind. You can hear it howling, so I'm going to be quiet for just 2 seconds so you can hear it. But along with this wind, it's pushing a lot of the palm tree limbs across the roadway. So it's a lot of debris along 192 being pushed. You can see the sheets of rain just flying down 192 right now with this wind. So it's really coming down on this side. Again, it's really empty when it comes to the cars being out here, which is a good thing because right now Osceola is under a curfew, which started at 8 o'clock and will be back open until about 10 o'clock. So we have seen some deputies with their lights on riding riding around making sure that everyone is abiding by that rule. But we're actually in this area starting to really feel that wind, that rain come out, and we're starting to see some power outages along 192. And as you can see, the trees, they're holding up as much as they can, but it's a lot of them pushing from side to side along. But we'll continue to keep monitoring this side of Kissimmee and bring you the latest. But for now, we're live. Daryl Matthews, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Daryl, thank you. You know, there's a lot of people right now that are sitting and waiting and anticipating and watching the images that have come forward. And I have been in communication with the mental health expert. I want to show you these pictures that one of the families had sent in. This is Sherry Johnson and Nico, 4 years old. He made a tent, and that's part of the fun of this, to try to create a distraction. And I'm reading again about these children, and it basically says the age of the child, it would depend. The younger the child, they'll look to their parents for emotional security and strength. If a mom or dad are shell-shocked or numb and not able to manage their own emotions or responsibilities, the child will feel extra pressure, become confused, and further stress. So as you can see, this worked because Nico is fast asleep.
That's a beautiful sight right there. He's all nice and cozy and tucked in. Meanwhile, I checked in on the triplets, and 2 out of the 3 are up. They're watching Uncle Greg right now and checking in, and we saw that. You know, there is some concern. I had Shannon Butler's daughter, Manhattan, actually message me, hey, please keep my mom safe, you know, and she is 11 years old. And, you know, you see your mom out in the elements, you get a little bit concerned. But that's great advice from the mental health experts you talk to. Make it a process with the kids. Get them involved. And so they know everything's going to be okay.
So I've posted all of this. It's on our website, WFTV.com, in terms of, you know, the mental side of this. It includes what to do with children of different ages and also yourself. He said to think of this as an airliner, and when you get the instructions, first put the oxygen on yourself. You need to breathe and relax, and then you can help others around you do the same. So it will be a scary night. I'm just going to be honest with you. When the lights are out and these storms with this kind of significant wind go past your home, it is loud. And it's not something that many of us ever get used to.
And I think that for a lot of families, you know, for mine, all of the kids are together on one side of the house and making sure that, you know, if they wake up, they have the other one, and they know that they're safe and they're going to be okay. In numbers.
And then as you plan where you're going to go to bed tonight, if you've got a large tree that you've been concerned about, maybe been a big oak tree, then have you or your family sleep on the other side of the house, just in case.
We've seen that happen actually in Helene, where mom and her, I believe, baby twins, a tree came down and they did not survive. So it's important, you know, just be smart. If you know a tree's going to come down or has the potential to have some issues, don't sleep there.
Let's check in with Tom right now. We want to get the timing of all of this, and then we're going to take you also down to someone who just lived through both the eye of the storm and then the backside as the storm rolled past. And this was from the Fort Myers area. But Tom, you've seen these video images. You've heard about now we have fatalities in Port St. Lucie, and that's from the tornadic activity. I mean, this storm, we already know it's a deadly storm.
Yeah, incredible power in the tornadoes we had today. Unusually powerful tornadoes. They had a wide open runway coming in from southwest Florida across, and I want to show you downtown Orlando. We can actually in the distance see the rain spraying off the buildings here. That's a look north over downtown. That's a look to the south. What I like the fact, almost nobody out on the roads. Just got the new advisory. Winds down to 105 miles an hour. Still an incredibly powerful hurricane that's going to be working its way right through near the Melbourne area by around 6 o'clock in the morning, and then offshore. But it is still bringing a lot of wind. These are the wind gusts. We have 79 in Winter Haven, so that is getting closer to where some of the stronger winds are starting to pick up right now. We've already been over 70 in Daytona Beach. We were 71 earlier in Leesburg, and here you see the latest position, and this is going to just truck right on across. And again, what we're really getting concerned about here is this very heavy rain that we were expecting would be on the north side of where the track is, and that's exactly what we're seeing. This red area we normally reserve for tornado warnings. That is going to be flash flood emergency. And if you're just tuning in, just before 11 o'clock here, we dumped a 500-year flood event over Tampa. They missed the record storm surge, but instead got the northern eye and got this incredible flood that's going to be a huge mess for the Tampa-St. Pete area. You can see the heavy rain, and this flash flood emergency also includes extreme southern Sumter County. That's the Green Swamp area, though, so we're okay. And then moving toward northern parts of Polk County as well. And we still have very heavy rain that's now moving in across southern Lake County. I'm watching Four Corners Celebration just north of Kissimmee. We may be able to arc this heaviest rain shield just on the north side of Osceola and hopefully keep it out of your area. But I'm really concerned about Orange County right now as we're continuing to see very heavy rain. We already have a flash flood warning in effect, meaning the water can rise rapidly. We don't have the flash flood emergency, which we had in parts of the area 2 years ago with Ian. That was a 12 to 16 plus inch rainfall, but we're still getting a lot of rain yet to come. Popka, Mount Plymouth, down through Altamont Springs, flash flood warnings are still in effect here. So it has just begun, and you can see here that's 10, 12, 15, and the kind of darker gray here is going to be over 20 inches of rain on the northern side of the eye wall. How much more? Forecast model showing another 9, 8.5. That's raining right now, possibly as much as 14. I don't know. We'll see. I certainly hope not. But I think we're probably getting closer to another 7 to 10 inches of rain in downtown Orlando, which would put us up to that 14, maybe 15 inches total that we had been expecting. And this is just one of the flood threat products that we're getting from our forecast model. You can see the highest flood threat over Tampa, but we're going to move this flood threat in across Metro Orlando, where I showed you, and also a high flood threat up here in our northern beaches, because you're going to be the last to see the rain move out. It's going to be finally exiting, but not for about another 12 to 14 hours. So what you've got, you're going to get for a while longer. Here's a look at early warning future track, and we can see the swirl here. That's the hurricane according to our model. There's the track from the Hurricane Center. We're locked in. But notice the bright, vivid colors, the fuchsias, the brick red. That is high rain rates. We could get a flash flood emergency issued for Orange County with more rain coming, 6-7 inches of rain additional. And this is going to be 3:30 in the morning. And as I showed you, remember that flood graphic I just showed you up in this northern beach area? Look at what our model shows here at 3:30 in the morning. It is hammering not only with wind, but with flooding rain potential. So this is going to be another huge concern during the late night hours. This is 6:30, so Cassandra Cremy and Brian Shields, we're all kind of tagging in and out early in the morning, but we'll pull some of the heaviest rain through, but continue with this heavy rain threat until probably mid-morning up in Volusia County. This is a look at the future winds, and this is just kind of one snapshot of the model here, but you see lots of 74. I saw 87. There's 87 New Smyrna. I believe it's 67 in Leesburg, and then the wind starts switching direction as the hurricane moves offshore. But look at Palm Coast, 77, 82 New Smyrna. This is just going to pound and pound and pound our northern beaches. I saw 94 flash by, so I hope that's the upper limit. I think I remember 2 years ago with Ian, which was only a tropical storm, by the way, when it was over here, not a hurricane. We had 84 up at Daytona Beach, so we could easily increase that by 10. So, as we all take a deep breath here, myself included, after the storm, stay away from debris. Assume all power lines are active. Use those generators safely. We've been teaching you a lot about how to stay safe and prepared, hunker down. We are going to have more and more of us lose power overnight. Download our free weather app, our news app, and as we get hopefully into tomorrow, we'll have more live coverage on our radio partners up and down the dial, 580 WDBO and 107.3. By the way, nothing else cooking right now in the tropics concerning to us, but we'll be watching about a week, 10 days from now. The American GFS is trying to spin up a little tropical trouble in the Western Caribbean, but that's a ways down the road, one storm at a time.
Yeah, let's not worry. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You brought up a good point. You had a list of reasons why one should not go in any of the floodwaters. Wow, some serious stuff. Again, it's those down power lines. I've covered as a reporter in Miami. Family was killed because after a storm they came out. They were curious after the storm passed. Not quite full sunlight. They came out, stepped in an electrified puddle, if you will, because a down power line was in there and electrified a mom and a son tragically walking the dog. But you've got some reasons.
In the morning, there will be a bunch of water standing that might be encouraged. Your kids might want to go out there and play or jump and swim. Down power lines, human and livestock waste, household, medical, industrial hazardous materials, chemical, biological, radiological, also other contaminants that can lead to illness, also wild or stray animals. So I think that's a pretty good list, not to mention it's something that, you know, obviously could take your life if there happened to be a down line in there. So don't go in the water tomorrow, I think is what we're saying. We'll be right back as we continue our coverage. 11 o'clock hour, we will take you to an Orlando resident who actually just went through the eye of the storm. We'll talk with that person and much more. Still ahead as we track Milton. It will be here soon over us in Central Florida. Many are starting to feel those outward bounds, the outward bands. We'll be back.
Stay with Channel 9 Eyewitness News as we track Milton.
Look at 275 here. We can see, oh, there goes our roof. The shingles on our roof on this side are coming off too.
It is really, really started to pick up here. You guys can just tell, just hearing that wind right now.
Here in the Four Corners area of Osceola County, the conditions are continuing to deteriorate.
It's just going to be a very, very long night here. And David, we've been working on this forecast model, trying to get it all timed out. But you can see that heavy rain moving through between now and midnight.
The surge is probably about 7 feet right now here in Florida, and still coming in, kind of coming in like a tsunami now all of a sudden in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, we've shown you some of those images. That one right there, you can just absolutely see the storm surge. And he said it was coming in like a tsunami. And whether it is like one or not, it certainly, for those who are living through it, does feel that way. We know we have flash floods. We have an historic 500-year flood happening for folks in the Tampa-St. Petersburg area. And as you heard Tom say in our open, it will be a long night. We're going to ride this out with you the entire time. Martha and Greg and Tom and our entire team, we're not going anywhere. Hurricane Milton is over Manatee County. It's decreased to a Category 2 hurricane, but that's still a big one.
It is. You know, we're talking about flash flood emergencies in Tampa because of this storm. And we know, sadly, this storm has already claimed several lives in the Port St. Lucie area. We are working to get more confirmation on how many people have died, but we've seen tornadoes pop up in certain areas. And look at this. This is Tampa. Live pictures right now from our crew hunkered down. Shannon Butler right there. It's winds too strong for her, who is a seasoned veteran covering these storms. She's actually gone inside because the winds are so strong that they've been knocking her over, Tom.
102 still there right now.
Can we listen in on this? That's what would be wonderful to hear, because you could just hear the power of Mother Nature and the howling. And now we have a flash flood warning in effect till 2 a.m. It's beeping on my phone right now, Tom. Emergency alert happening on your devices if you're watching us, if your watch is going off.
There's that sound that you're talking about, and yes, we'll get more to our alert. All of your phones and your devices have gone off. That means for us, we're next in line, but this is happening right now in Tampa. That's a live picture of what they're experiencing right now. The eye has already passed. The storm has, in terms of the heartbeat of it, has already left, but this is what we are all seeing happening in Tampa. And there you see,
wow, my goodness. Look at, you hear Shannon.
That's a transformer that blew right there, live on TV.
That sound you saw was the transformer. You heard Shannon there, also letting you know that flash flood warning is for the current location in Orlando.
There's a fire there that follows that flash. That's the flash that you saw. That's a transformer there in Tampa.
Is that a fire I see, right?
It is a fire in the middle of the screen.
Oh, my.
Leave the sound up, please. Again, as we're listening in, you're watching this play out live. This is in Tampa. Our crew is safe. They are indoors. We are shooting this from a distance, from a balcony, and it looks like a pretty significant fire. If you look at this, this is just an example of the power of the storm. We see transformers pop when there are strong storms. That's one of the reasons we lose power. And this one has caught fire with those trees. Carrie Krosky is our photographer. Shannon Butler there on the top of that balcony area right there. And again, it's dark. It is raining hard. And the people of Tampa are really feeling the impacts of Milton. And we're getting a report right now
Tropicana Field where the roof is coming off.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and we're going to keep taking a look at this. We'll show you the video, too, from Tropicana Field. But the impacts of that. Let's go look at that Tropicana Field. Look at this. This is a reporter that's live there from one of our affiliates. And again, maybe I was going to say we can turn up the volume because it's an ABC affiliate. We can listen to what he has to say. If we could go back to that, guys. I know we're doing this on the fly. This stuff is coming fast and furious. So if in the control room that's something you can pop back up from Tropicana Field, I think that's worthwhile because hundreds and hundreds of cots are there. Let's listen in. And that's where the National Guard and the linemen are staying. Let's listen to what this guy has to say.
The wind to get in and then start ripping it and doing the significant damage that we're looking at right now. But, you know, if Jason can zoom in on those beams, you can see the steel beams that make up the actual dome that hold everything in place. I mean, I'm looking at each of them all along there, and I'm seeing them all still in place. So I have not seen any kind of collapse. I don't see any, you know, cracks in the foundation of the stadium. It's just that fabric part of the dome that is shredded.
And again,
but, you know, you can even see the lights. Yeah, you can see the purple lights inside. You know, I mean, that's a big part of Rays games before or you know, during different parts of the game and the celebration at the end of the game when they turn on the lights and kind of light the dome up. And we're seeing the purple lights are still illuminated inside there. So it must be quite a sight. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be inside that stadium right now for those who were there. And, you know, we don't know if they had any kind of sign that this was starting to happen and were able to take shelter inside the concourse of the stadium, inside the locker room. And obviously, there are plenty of safe places that would be secure from the elements deeper within the stadium than just being out there on the field. But, yeah, this is quite a sight. Yeah.
And you're watching our TV station in Tampa, Martha. They're reporting on many of us have been to ball games. You were there this year for a ball game. That's,
you know what's scary, Greg? And I mean, we've been covering this, how hundreds of those linemen and women had their cots there. They had set this up, Greg, so that they would be well rested. That in there, they were protected. Yes, and sleeping there and have a safe place. And then we got word just moments ago as we were coming on the air with that transformer blowing in Tampa, the emergency of flash flood for our area in Orlando, that signal going off on all of our devices. And now we have to figure out, hopefully no one was in there when that roof got sheared off.
Well, they would be in there because the linemen are not out on the streets yet. They're not out repairing yet. So we don't know if anyone was hurt, but we do know that hundreds upon hundreds of cots were spread across the whole field. We have video of that, which we're going to show you in a second. But again, we want to go back to Tampa in a little bit. We have reporters sprinkled all over Central Florida, and we're going to talk with each and every one of them. But Tom was standing right here next to us when we all here on TV watched it play out, that massive explosion of, again, the electrical box and then the fire and then the St. Pete, the Tropicana Field, it was basically ripped. The top was ripped.
Yeah, haven't seen that before. And wind gusts well over 100 miles an hour. And as you get within 2 or 3 stories above ground level, you can add about 20% onto that because we don't have the frictional loss. So it's probably over 100, 110, 115 miles an hour, clearly beyond the limits. So they're going to have a lot of repair to do. And if your alerts went off here, your phones are like going, oh my God, what was that? That happens in tornado warnings and in flash flood emergencies. So we have a flash flood emergency out right now for parts of Central Florida. So let's get to the details, and this is all playing exactly along with what we had feared would happen, and you hope for the best, but you plan for what's going to be coming. So downtown, it's just kind of rainy and squally. We're going to get more heavy rain coming through. We are not going to verify the heavy downpours they've had in Tampa, Pinellas, where it's been a 500-year flood and over 15 to 20 inches of rain. But the rain is just now picking up. And we talked a lot about this the last several days. See the drier air on the south side, the heavy rain on the north side, and that continues to come through. This is the Hurricane Center track continuing to move this through east-northeast at 16, 70 76 gusts, 79 in Winter Haven. But this flash flood emergency, not only for the Tampa area, but look at this heavy rain that's coming through central parts of Polk County, Polk City. This flood emergency goes on till 4 a.m. We have a flash flood emergency, a considerable, as opposed to this was a catastrophic flash flood emergency for Tampa. That's the highest level of flooding, what they saw up in the mountains after Helene. This is what we call considerable, which is another step up from flash flood warning. But Gotha, Apopka, Orlando, Winter Springs, all the way into Deltona, you're in this flash flood warning. Heavy rainfall is going to get started. I hope we don't verify this, but our model showing we could have as much as 13.5 inches of rain, and we've already picked up about 3 to 5 right now. As Future Track shows this heavy downpour moving on through, we'll also have considerable heavy rain, may have more of these flash flood emergencies over the next several hours. Our whole team is tracking this. Guys, we'll have a lot more coming up, but the wet weather squally is just getting started here.
All right, thanks so much. Also, someone who is in that flash flooding zone is our Shannon Butler, who continues to bring us powerful images from Tampa, Greg.
And Shannon, tell us what your reaction. We heard your voice when we saw that transformer pop there in Tampa at the top of the 11 o'clock hour.
A lot of transformers blow. You know, we can see them across the city, and you'll see those like greenish blue lights come up, and we know they're transformers. But this is held up pretty good over here, and we didn't know that transformer was back there. So when it blew, we just couldn't believe it. And then right after that, as you guys went to Tropicana Field, and we're not far from Tropicana Field, by the way, another transformer blew here and caught that tree on fire. You hear all that banging. That's the roof of this hotel now starting to come off. All of those tiles here on this, all of that clanging, that's what that is. The wind has not let up, you guys. The rain has not let up. That flooding continues to get worse. Hang on just for a second, guys. We're tangled up in our porch here. The flooding continues to get worse along here. In fact, just a little while ago, we had to move our vehicle to higher ground because the parking lots here are flooding. You can see back here, it's much darker than it was when we were on just an hour ago. That is because the continued power outages along. Carrie, look over here, that car on 275. There's one lone car. We assume it's a law enforcement or emergency responder. That car on 275 seems to be able to get down. We can't tell what kind of car it is, but they seem to be able to get down the expressway. But the roads around the hotel are all flooded. We could not get our car out right now, even if we wanted to. We are surrounded by water here. And I know you guys can, watch out here. That has continued our hotel roof coming off here. I mean, you guys can just hear it. I know even through my microphone, you can hear this wind, you can hear the rain, and it's really the wind that's the issue right now, causing all of this damage. And it doesn't appear that this flooding is going to get any better anytime soon.
They're calling it, thank you, Shannon, a 500-year flood in St. Pete, 1 in 500. And that's what we're seeing. We're witnessing this cataclysmic disaster happen in Tampa. It's starting to impact us here. We'll be back as we continue our storm coverage. Martha, it's getting real.
It is. We have a flash flood emergency here for parts of Central Florida. We're going to have more details for you to keep you safe coming up right after this break. As Milton moves through, we've been seeing some powerful images, hearing as well the effects of this storm. Those are pictures right now from Siesta Key, where Milton made landfall around 8:30 this evening, and we have just been witnessing, Greg, some powerful images. We saw the transformer blow in Tampa. We've seen the roof come apart where our crew is staying, and we saw Tropicana Field, the top of that multi-purpose dome stadium, which is really the base camp for the hundreds of line men and women who are here to get the power back on. The roof just peeled off of it.
Live on Channel 9. We're going to go back to that coverage in just a little bit. Greg Warmuth with Martha Sagowski. Let's now go here locally to where we had our watches go off, our phones went off, that flood warning, flash flood warning, and Nick Pampantonis is reporting live for us in Orange County. Nick, you're in Winter Garden. How are things there? We can tell it's absolutely pouring.
Yeah, we wanted to relocate here because this is where one of those heavy rain and wind bands has set up, and it's been here for some time now. This is an east-west downtown street, too, which is aligning with the wind, allowing it to travel through this downtown. You can see here, it is whipping. We just had a gust come through like 15 seconds ago. That probably one of the strongest ones we've seen yet. Here we go again. Downtown Winter Garden still relatively dry. None of the businesses appear to have any flooding issues. There's no major standing water on the street, of course. I say dry. Everything is covered in water right now. The one thing that we're noticing here as we drove around, there's a lot of small tree branches, debris, acorns, like that sort of thing covering the roads right now. Some decent-sized branches, too. We haven't seen any trees, though there was a report of maybe a medium or smaller-sized tree earlier this evening. The other thing that we've noticed about Winter Garden is the police here are making themselves very, very well known. Police and first responders as well. We've seen, I think, at least 4 cop cars, maybe the same ones, but in any case, different instances. But there's 2 parked right around the corner from where we are right now with their lights on, being very visible. There's another one that's roaming around. We came across a fire engine. They are here to watch over the city, respond to anything that's needed, and just like other crews around Central Florida that are here to watch, but these guys are making sure, and men and women, I should say, are making sure that people know that they're here at the same time. Of course, we're the only souls on Plant Street except for them, and that's a good thing. Everyone, as Tom Terry is saying, is hunkering down right now. Power is here in downtown. I've seen people posting where it might be out in other parts of this city, and I've seen like the conditions just to the west of us in Claremont, much of the same thing. It was really a toss-up of which of the 2 cities we go to. We just chose this one. So again, here's your picture of Plant Street and Winter Garden. Very different than normal, very empty, very dark right now, but except for all the string lights, as that kind of medium band of Milton here moves through us. Just a much more hurricane-like image here versus what we saw in Orlando, which is on the dry side of the storm. At least it was when we were there about an hour and a half ago now. So live from Winter Garden, Nick Papantonis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Nick, great report. So what was it like to go through the storm right where it made landfall?
In the eye, basically.
Yeah, in the eye. Well, we have somebody on the phone. Chris Tomaso joins us. He used to live in Orlando. Now his home is down in Siesta Key, and he joins us now. And Chris, thank you for being on with us. What was it like, bud?
It was unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, the winds were so intense. We had our house fortified with hurricane shutters, and it was very loud, very unsettling. And then it got really eerily calm when the eye came over us for about an hour, a little bit, hour and a half. Gave us a chance to go outside and assess the damage, brought some lights with us, and a lot of big trees down, a lot of debris, and we thought we were through it. You always hear about the northeast side being the worst part, and but we kept hearing about the backside being just as bad, if not worse, and that's the case. We're in the middle of that right now, and it's even more intense than what we saw earlier.
And Chris, you said these were just insane, sustained winds. I'm curious. You said you fortified your home. What did you do to get ready to be able to withstand these powerful winds?
Yeah, so we're off of the coast somewhat. We weren't in an evacuation zone. We were in flood zone E, and they evacuated to flood zone C. So we have hurricane windows and doors, and then I also have a kind of a Kevlar fabric system that goes over those windows that we installed. And so I really felt like we had, double the coverage. I will say that our neighbors' hurricane shutters ripped off and flew down the street, and ours are starting to weaken a little bit right now. Some of the things have popped, and I'm waiting for this second wave to end here.
Chris, tell us about the sound, because there are so many new residents of Orlando, Central Florida, that are about to hear what would be a similar sound shortly over us. What was it like?
Yeah, I have to say that the worst sound was coming through our fireplace chimney and the flue, and that's really meant to be open, obviously. So that's where we heard most of the sound. Our hurricane windows and doors did their job and have kept the sound out pretty well. But then you start hearing things landing on your roof and hitting hitting your walls outside, and you can't go out and look at it, and you can't see. The system that we installed is one that you can't see out of, so we've been in the dark for a while now. So when we got to the eye and we had a chance to go and do a quick walk around and look outside, that's when we see it. But we could hear the wind, and it was, I mean, just as loud as you can imagine.
The storms are frightening no matter what, but especially so, Chris, in the dark, so eerily frightening. My question to you is, about 3 hours ago that the eye crossed over Siesta Key. It's been 3 hours. What are you experiencing right now? You said your Kevlar system is starting to weaken. Are the winds still pounding where you are?
Absolutely, still pounding. We keep checking in with folks who are a little bit south of us because we feel like they got it about 15 minutes before us, and we keep asking them, has it let up yet? Just trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. It's still intense there, so we expect it to be intense here at least for another hour. But it's actually as bad or worse than it was on the front side of the storm. And the one thing we noticed is that the wind took a completely different direction when we got to the other side of the eye.
All right, Chris, we're glad that you and the family are okay. You used to live in Orlando. You've been through it here. Now you've been through the eye of a hurricane. And we'll check back in with you guys as you begin the recovery. But thank you for being with us. And once a friend of mine sent me that name, I was like, we have to talk to this person. He posted on Facebook about he was asking for prayers. He said we were halfway through it. It's the most frightening thing he has been through. They sent me his phone number. He agreed to do it. And you just heard from somebody who just literally lived through the eye of a hurricane.
And you know how strong these winds are when he says that his neighbor had on hurricane-proof windows and a system,
that flew off.
And they just were ripped off by Milton. And Tom, that just goes to show the power and the magnitude of this storm, that it was able to just peel him off.
Yeah, the eye of the storm. He went through it.
Incredible. I didn't think I would see that coming out of the Tampa area, but winds are still gusting over 100 miles an hour on the backside of this hurricane now, over along the coast, and it's going to get even windier in downtown Orlando. These are the latest wind gusts. Peak so far today, 76 Daytona. That's 100+ miles away from the hurricane, so it's going to get windier, we think, later tonight. 79 Winter Haven, 63 Kissimmee. It's gusting that right now. We're gusting to 64 Orlando, 70. We're going to have a lot more wind tonight, and the drier air working through on the south end is going to limit the flood threat here across southern Polk, probably most of central and southern Osceola County, most of central and southern Brevard County, but this northern side is where all the heaviest rain is, and that will travel across. That's 6 o'clock in the morning, moving off by the Space Coast, still with winds of about 80 miles per hour, maybe as high as 85. And if your phone's been going off, those alert tones, we had those for tornado warnings and also for flash flood emergencies. They've already had almost 2 feet of rain over here in Tampa, just incredible water coming down, not fresh water, but fresh water, not seawater. They missed the worst storm surge, but they got more than they can handle on the rain. Very heavy wind and rain. That's a flash flood emergency here in northern parts of Polk County. This is a flash flood emergency for Claremont, Ocoee. It's going to continue. It just kind of got started with some of this heavier rain. We will not verify 24 inches of rain, but we're going to probably verify a foot when it's all done, and that's going to lead to some flooding from some retention ponds, rivers, all those kinds of things that we saw a couple of years ago from Hurricane Ian. I'm just hoping it's not on the same scale, but still, this flash flood emergency goes all the way up through Seminole County, just into the Deltona area as well. Considerable is what they tag it, so considerable heavy amounts of rain. Here's a look at Early Warning Future Track, our great tool, and it's pretty much synced up with the Hurricane Center track. Midnight, we're still going to have very heavy rain, flash flood emergency ongoing through probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Metro Orlando shifting north and east. St. Cloud will still get some heavier thunderstorms on the south side, but I think the heaviest rain will be north. And I've been communicating with folks over in the beach in Daytona, New Smyrna. You are going to get hammered all night. A lot of us are going to as well, but you're going to be the last to see it move out. So wherever you are, just stay hunkered all the way through probably mid-morning tomorrow. Here's 7 a.m. The storm kicks through. This will become a Cat 1. Daytona, New Smyrna, very heavy amounts of rain and still some surge coming through. We're still expecting 3 to 5 feet of storm surge, and the winds are going to continue to pick up overnight tonight. Look at that, just one example, 2 a.m., 87 New Smyrna. I believe it, because we're already verifying hurricane force winds and the storm is still 100 miles away. Long night ahead. We'll get you through it.
Tom, I encourage people and viewers to send me messages, and I'm going to try to get to all of them. This is one that just came to me from an elderly folks home. She is a senior, actually living alone. She wrote, quote, Martha, I cannot imagine this wind, noise, rain being worse. I can't see a thing outside, only hear unbelievable noise, wind, rain. And why do the soffits make so much noise? I don't feel okay. I am terrified. And she is in Claremont.
It is so scary to be by yourself and in the dark, as this storms are frightening no matter what, but especially so at nighttime and not knowing. You can't see outside, not knowing what's going to be out there when you wake up in the morning and daylight comes.
Yeah, hopefully we can provide some comfort. We again will, welcome your comments, your videos to our social media. That's the easiest. DM us. We'll be right back as we continue to ride this out with you. We are tracking Milton, continuing coverage right here on Channel 9, our website and our app.
More live pictures for you so you can see what is happening in our community right now. This is near Lake Dora in Tavares, where the rain is coming down. It is windy, and we are bringing you these pictures so you can safely see what is going on. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Martha Sagowski.
And I'm Greg Wormuth. I continue to read your messages. Many of them are heartbreaking, and I'm with you on, being scared, but it's going to be okay. I'm getting one now from Christmas. I live along the St. Johns River, extremely high river right now, and now my yard is flooding, and it's got massive flooding at this point. And again, this is what they were worried about. This was the concern. If you were in an area that was prone to flooding, you could expect not just that flooding, but maybe flooding that you've never experienced before. And Tom, we're at the beginning stages of this here in Central Florida.
And I want to, before you go, I just want to know, I've gotten a message now from the Ocala mayor who says that there are numerous trees and power lines down throughout the entire community, and they are imploring folks, it's only going to get worse as the hours go by. Please stay inside to the daylight, because apparently it's all over in Ocala.
Yeah,
lots of trees.
Down and the trees.
Trees, power, everything, all these things that we've talked since Monday about nonstop. And let me show you, this is live downtown Orlando, just to give you a view from Metro Orlando. We have a very, very stable perch here, but you can see some of the rain blowing sideways, and incredibly, it's going to get even worse. Greg, there's our shot from Daytona Beach, and they're already getting hurricane force winds more than 100 miles away, and it's just about taking all the flags down. Our camera is hanging on for the moment. We lost the last camera, but look at that. Peak wind 76 in Daytona Beach. That is probably some erroneous readings over here. I think we've lost data. I'm sure it's higher than that. 63, 79, 75, and the live wind gusts, those were the peaks so far today. We're still in that 60 to 70 to nearly 80 miles an hour. And here comes the hurricane. Now, the hurricane itself is about right here, but you can see the rain that's stretching out on the northeast side. It's interacting with a cold front. This is part of that overall kind of quirky setup we've been talking about the last 60, 72 hours or so, and it's expanding the wind field as it moves over Central Florida. Max wind still 105 and continuing to move right across through Brevard County around 6 a.m., maybe a little sooner than that. Winds of 80 and still moving out, leaving behind, of course, lots of wind, tree damage, all of that, and that's the scary part. That's what you're able to hear. So just keep us with you. We're going to keep you safe through this, and this is what I do, okay? You can see Winter Haven, very heavy rain coming through right now. Flash flood emergency in effect. This is part of that 8 to 12, 14 inches of rain we talk so much about. And this is going to move through Polk City, Four Corners, Davenport. Flash flood emergency also into Orange County. Wanted to sample some of the winds that we're seeing out of the terminal Doppler south of the airport. 74, 78 miles an hour, slightly elevated off the ground, but you get the idea. It's windy. And heavy rain spreading through Ocoee, Apopka, Altamont, Orlando. And this is just the leading edge of the heavy rain that is still moving in from the southwest, again on the north side of the hurricane track. And we still have flood warnings throughout really all of Central Florida except for southern Brevard County, where you're kind of getting out of the heaviest rain threat. Here's 12:30, heavy rain spreading in just on the north side of the hurricane track, just as we told you it would. Here's New Smyrna, Daytona, Palm Coast, and it's really going to be interesting to see the winds reporting up here. Hopefully we still have a camera. Hopefully we're still reporting conditions up here due to data outage and power outage, but incredible impacts on our northern beaches overnight tonight. We're also going to keep an eye here on Brevard County. You'll get kind of a reversal of the wind flow here for Melbourne. Cocoa, we could get some storm surge through there. The last bit of rain finally moving out, but not till after around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And just showing you some of the wind speeds on here, 87, 70. I saw 89, 94 earlier, so lots of wind, lots of rain, flash flood emergencies. Be very careful after the storm. We're going to have down power lines, assume everything is live, and we are going to get you through this, but a very long night ahead, guys. And I still just can't believe what we were seeing coming in out of Tampa. They just ripped the roof right off of the stadium there.
Well, I've been getting people messaging me. They were concerned because, as we know, it was a base camp for all those, hundreds of linemen and women. But I'm reading now, per ABC News, that officials were in contact with the people inside the stadium and they are safe, which is certainly good news, because so many people have been coming from Nebraska, California, out of state to come here to stage so that when conditions were safe, they could get out and get our power back on, because right now over 1.5 million customers in Florida are without power.
Yeah, and it was a sea of cots, and this is the rest time before they go out to try to get the power back on. Channel 9 Shannon Butler is not far from Tropicana Field. It has a membrane, a soft top on it, and it basically, once it started to rip, it was just like a hefty bag, like ripping plastic. And Shannon, you have witnessed some crazy winds there, and I don't know if you heard our interview with somebody who went through the eye of the storm. He said it just won't let up. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's like every time I think, oh, this next live shot we do with you, we're probably not going to have wind or rain, but it just will not stop. Take a look. It looks exactly like it did the last time I saw you, and the time before that, and the time before that. That water is still coming in. The rain seems to let up maybe a little bit. But this wind just continues to batter this part of Tampa Bay. I know everyone, St. Petersburg, Bradenton, Sarasota, all feeling the effects of this now. And I was actually going to ask Tom if he was still there, like when Tampa Bay will see some relief from this, because I just, I do a lot of these, and it seems like we know. Like, okay, in a few hours this is going to be gone, but he's right.
He's right here, Shannon. Shannon, he's right here.
When's the relief, Tom, for that?
Shannon, you probably got another 3-4 hours of really gustiness. It's going to slowly get better, but right now we're still getting 80, 90 mile an hour winds on the west side of the storm as the hurricane winds start to spread out. Right now, gusts 97 in Tampa.
Yeah, that would feel about right here, because we will stand here for just a few minutes and then it will come through here, and you see the trees, bent over. The parts of our roof continue to come off at every one of those gusts, and you can just see there is some power on, but you can see also a lot of darkness here. I can imagine that most of this area is going to be dealing with a lot of power outage. This wind is brutal, you guys, and I've done a few of these. This wind is brutal.
And Shannon, I know that it's you're up above, but it looks to me as that street right there that leads into the parking lot where your storm tracking vehicle is basically trapped now. That looks like that's pretty deep water, and even getting out of there tomorrow or whenever could be a challenge. It looks like that's become a river of water.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere around this hotel except for 275, which is to my left, seems pretty clear. I mean, it looks more like a skating rink with that water that comes across because of the wind. But the roads on the other side of this hotel, they're all flooded. I mean, it is that flash flooding. What we hope is in the morning that water will have subsided once this wind and this rain dies down a little bit, but it just keeps growing and growing. I mean, you can see that's a white fence with that flooding, and you can see just how high, I mean, the sidewalks are covered. We think that this restaurant next to us has taken on some water. We can't see as much as we can now because that's where that transformer blew a little while ago, but you can see like their sign still has power. I mean, there's still quite a bit of power on. I'm really actually surprised about that because this wind is so hard to manage.
And you can hear the shaking and the rattling going on, Shannon, with the tiles on that roof kicking in. And we're going to check back in with you in a little bit, but we want to talk about another story that's happening close by. The Tropicana Field, which just blew up. What I'm hearing now is that their stadium was set up to house over 10,000 first responders there, and just incredible images. And officials say that they were in contact with the people who were already in there. We saw the hundreds and hundreds of cots that were set up for the line men and women who were getting ready to do their job. So
this also could impact, the response. Let's go into our image, into our Studio C right now, and some images that have come out. Alex, you've been there covering games. Martha's gone to games. I have been there many times, and now that membrane roof is just in tatters.
Every time you go to St. Petersburg, you see Tropicana Field. It's one of the main lasting images of that city, and we see it all the time when the Rays are playing baseball. This video is stunning from the home of the Tampa Bay Rays, one of our state's Major League Baseball teams. The roof at Tropicana Field just after 11 o'clock tonight, completely shredded to pieces. It's incredible to see. We're going to take this video full screen. The sheer power of Hurricane Milton, just no match for that roof at the Trop. St. Pete Fire and Rescue has confirmed that everybody inside the Trop is safe, and we'll have more on the people inside in just a second. But first, a reporter at our ABC affiliate in Tampa was on the scene just after 11 o'clock when the roof was being ripped off. Take a listen.
There are obviously big parts of the fabric that are gone. They're not there anymore. Huge pieces of that fabric. So the question is, did they go inside or did they just fly off somewhere in downtown St. Pete? Because while there are still shreds holding onto those beams, there are big, gigantic parts of that fabric roof that are just gone.
And we mentioned that everybody inside is safe. That group of people includes linemen, first responders. They're using that facility and the surrounding parking lots as a staging area for hurricane response. Cots lined up where baseball is usually played. That's where they're trying to get some sleep before they go to work in the morning to start to get power back on. And now their roof is gone. That video of the roof getting ripped off, it is stunning, and it's going to be one of the lasting images of Hurricane Milton. Guys, back to you.
They're going to replace that stadium, but they're going to have to replace the roof first. That stadium is used for football games, for baseball games, and other events there. And so, again, it's been damaged before, but that was the sheer power, and it happened live on Channel 9. We happened to take that shot, and boom, off it went. We'll be right back as we continue our coverage. The destruction of Milton. It's headed our way, folks. Many of you are experiencing it right now, the winds above your house. We get a lot of messages here about the anxiety. We'll get through this. The storm will pass. And again, if you're in your home, stay there and stay tuned. We'll keep you abreast of anything that could be concerning. Next.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for being with us. I'm Martha Sigalski. These are live pictures. I'm along with Greg Warmoth of downtown Orlando as Milton is making its way here, Greg.
We have really been getting a lot of reaction from Central Floridians communicating with us here. I just got a text from someone who wants to help others. He's been through this, lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, been through tornadoes now with hurricanes. He says the noises like this, winds whistle around whatever you're in, seems to never end. If you hear a sound like moving furniture above you, it could be a loss of a roof about to happen. Again, that's when you want to take shelter. If there's something that doesn't sound right, the crackling of a tree, and these are the ways to protect yourself within your own structure. Don't be bashful. If you need to pull the mattress over you, that's a good idea. If you have a bicycle helmet, that's something as well to protect your noggin as we all go through this.
And you made the call to our wonderful viewers and how everyone loves to connect on social media. And so I've been looking at video right now of someone in Cocoa, and I'm going to turn the video around and for our viewers you can see, who was driving on a flooded street, looked over and saw an injured animal picked up that animal in the floodwaters, put it in his truck, and is now trying to help this animal. So that's what I was looking at when we were talking just moments ago. But Channel 9's Daryl Matthews is reporting live for us right now in Osceola County. We know it's been getting a lot of rain.
Yeah, and how are things now in downtown Kissimmee, Daryl?
Yeah, Greg, still windy, still raining. Rain picked up a little more, but I want to show you something that we've noticed since the last time you guys came to us. We're not getting that much rain as hard as, certain areas, but we're getting bits and parts. But right now in this parking lot of a hotel, we're starting to see some of the rain, pile on top of each other, which we know is going to happen because a lot of the rain that we've been seeing lately. But most of the people in this hotel on that first floor were looking at us, and we're kind of concerned that if this continues to happen, or while this continues to happen, it could potentially go inside the doors of this hotel. And as we know, a lot of people within this area have come from other areas to evacuate, to get away from situations that could occur right here. So I wanted to show you that. But I also want to show you something, because it's so windy out here, and we can see and you can even hear the wind. Not too long ago, if my photographer follows me over here, a sign blew off of a building on this side, and it hit the car, but this sign flew from somewhere over there, hit the car, and luckily it didn't go too far because it's metal and it's heavy. But you can see, like, as it, the wind just blew me, this wind is really starting to pick up, and it's dragging things that are stuck onto buildings. But it's clearly, we got to be careful, driving out and being out right now. But of course, Osceola is under that curfew, so it shouldn't be anyone out here anyway that isn't first responder or essential working right now. But we're going to continue to keep updating you on what's going here in Kissimmee. For now, live in Kissimmee, Daryl Matthews, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Daryl, thanks so much for that live report. And from Daryl in Kissimmee, we want to go to downtown Orlando, where our George Estevez has been reporting for us. And the last time we checked in with you, George, you were getting caught in a couple of wind bursts that have been happening.
Yes, and one of them took my hat. I got the hat back. I did talk to that neighbor up there who's still watching us live right now from her house, so she still has power. And there was a brownout here, so the street lights went out. We're on Central Boulevard, a main thoroughfare in downtown Orlando. The gusts have picked up since you last came to me in our 10 o'clock hour. Also, the power dimmed since you last came to me in our 10 o'clock hour. If you can see that business with the flashing lights, their alarm went off since the 10 o'clock hour. We had a couple of fire engines come through here, and the wind is really, really, really picking up at this point. The lights came back, but the wind is picking up. So again, I want to let you guys know I'm at Post Parkside. So this big building here, right over here, this big building from like 1940 or 50, whatever it is keeping us safe. I'm going to step into just the wind because I'm looking, and it's a little windy, but it's not that bad. So you're going to see the difference when you're inside the wind right here, and the wind is blowing, and the rain is blowing at me. So I'm kind of moving the mic so you can still hear me. So you can hear the rain kind of pelting me. So these are the things that we've been getting every like 5-10 minutes, but for the past few minutes, it's been pretty consistent. And come down here, take a look at this water. This wasn't the case about 10-15 minutes ago. And I'm going to walk over here in this direction because I want to show you the problem that many of these towns are having as they get pelted with the rain. See that pile of leaves down there? Can you see that? That's actually a storm drain. So it's been completely covered, and I'm tired of taking those leaves out. They just go right back. So that's what a lot of these officials are going to be dealing with once the sun comes up. I'm going to go in front of this building again because the wind is kind of really doing a number. So that's kind of what people are dealing with at this point, Martha and Greg. And we're seeing the intensity pick up from the storm, the wind pick up, and Tom was citing some numbers and having a conversation with Shannon. I'd be curious, actually, what I'm feeling here versus what I was feeling as far as either the gusts or the sustained winds here in downtown Orlando, right next to Lake Eola.
Yeah, you are experiencing some hurricane force winds there, George, in terms of the gusts, some 75 miles per hour. Let's head over to Tom, if we could. And Tom is with David, and you guys can confirm what's happening downtown.
Yeah, I just saw wind gust 74 at the executive airport. And here's our live view looking downtown. George is down below on street level, but just incredible wind and rain. And again, our Daytona shot, you're already getting hurricane force winds all the way over at the beach.
Yeah, and again, if you live along the coastline, it's going to be a long 12 to 18 hours of sustained winds. And look at this map. The worst is now kind of upon us here. Tom, in Central Florida.
Yeah, and the winds are going to increase in downtown Orlando. We'll probably get wind gusts over 85 miles an hour. Hopefully not more than that in downtown, but we've already been getting into those upper 70-degree range, upper 70-mile-per-hour range, I should say. So here's our Cat 2 coming in, and we talked extensively about the colder, drier air that's going to mix in on the south side, David, which is spreading the wind field.
That's exactly kind of what's happening. Oh, excuse me, hit the wrong button there. That's exactly what's happening here, and that's why Shannon and the Tampa Bay area continue to take these 80, 90-mile-per-hour gusts. That's something we're going to have to be keeping a close eye on.
It's still over 90 over here.
Correct, because what could be happening here is the back edge is kind of being almost unified, Tom, with this cold front that's also sitting to the north, and it's almost enhancing the wind. So it's very possible some of the worst wind may actually be on the back end of this system as it kind of exits in the early morning hours.
I don't want to hear that, but yeah, that may be the case. This is the heavy rain shield, and all the red on here normally we reserve for tornado warnings, but this is flash flood emergencies, and the heaviest rain has moved out of Tampa. It's still all wind now, but this is marching into downtown Orlando, David. That wind gust right there, that was the 70 we had over there at the airport, but this is right along I-4. Coming into Four Corners, just north of Kissimmee, and look at the wind speeds coming out of the executive airport right now.
It is really beginning to rock now. Now, some of this activity isn't reaching the ground completely, but we're getting some pretty significant ground truth here, Tom.
Yeah, and we also had some lightning strikes in there, so a little bit of convection. And I did want to show this at the top of the screen. So that was 74 miles an hour, executive airport, Baldwin Park area, Winter Park. So we're getting higher and higher winds as the hurricane gets closer and closer. I think the worst weather between, well, it's kind of moving in now, but I think 2, 3, 4 a.m. it's really going to be blowing.
Here in Metro Orlando, we have about a 4-hour window. Some of us, a lot of us are probably going to lose power, so this is a great time if you have that battery-powered radio, WDBO, AM 580, 107.3 FM. We have generator power here in the building. We're not going to go anywhere. And stay with us here the next several hours.
Yeah, very heavy rain. Again, flash flood emergency ongoing here. And I just checked the rain gauge. My neighbor's house, Steve, across the street, Rock Springs Ridge. He's got over 7 and still counting here over the last 12 hours, and still very heavy rain. And future track, again, just showing the what's coming here. This is midnight.
Yeah.
The winds are going to be gusty. We still have that onshore wind, and the rain totals are going to be prolific.
Unfortunately, the graphic that we showed the last couple of days, 8 to 14 inches, looks like it's going to be verified in this corridor here from kind of northern Polk through Metro Orlando up into portions of Volusia County. This is 3:30 in the morning. The core by then beginning to move away. Still have some strong winds here in the back end, and as we've been stressing, coastal Volusia, coastal Flagler, onshore winds that are really going to howl, it looks like, through the morning hours, Tom.
You know, and what I'm concerned too is the fact that we're 50 miles behind the hurricane, and we're still gusting over 90 in Tampa.
Yeah.
The winds won't be that strong when it comes through here, but we're still going to have a massive wind field overnight tonight. So you're going to have to be really careful at first light getting out and around, because the winds, you don't want to be getting up on any ladders, doing any of that. Let this wind field finally move through, but it will be a very long day, especially at the beaches here.
Yeah, even at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's high tide.
That's high tide. This is probably when we're going to be dealing with the surge event, maybe 3 to 5 feet here. Brevard, sections of Volusia and Flagler County, and we still at 3 o'clock, a little bit of leftover feeder band activity.
Yeah, so this is just an idea as we get into, before I hit midnight, some of the winds. This is in Brevard County. Not so much rain, a little bit here. That's wind, but 63, 63, 73. That's 6 a.m. hurricane force winds.
Yeah, this is going to be a long event in Brevard County, and a great point. Just because you're not going to get the rain in Brevard does not mean you're not going to get the wind.
Yeah, and this is going to be where it's going to be rainier. This is Daytona Beach, and these are just forecast model estimates. I think they're too low on the winds, but you can see 80, 90, 90. That's 100. It was too big from my box. It went away, but very heavy amounts of rain. Guys, we have flash flood emergencies. We haven't seen this since Ian back in 2022. We hope we don't get that 22-inch amounts of rain, but the storm surge potential is still going to be an issue after this passes, David, along northern sections of Merritt Island, especially all the way up in toward Palm Coast.
Yeah, I haven't seen any major changes here to the NHC forecast of 3 to 5 feet maximum. This is coastal sections of Brevard all the way up through coastal Volusia, sections of Flagler County. And one thing we want to stress as well is this surge, once it comes in, it may fill bays and inlets that it normally doesn't in kind of odd ways, because such a strong onshore flow not just will develop, but it's going to continue. So in some cases, the water kind of gets trapped in some of these bays and inlets, even in inland sections, of Flagler and Volusia.
All right, so we still have a lot to go through. Brian Shields, I've seen him. He's usually not up this early or late, but he'll be in tagging in later. Cassie's here. We're all taking you through this, and we will get you through this storm, but a long night ahead, Martha, Greg.
All right, it has been an issue that has been happening before the hurricane, and that was tornadoes. And we're getting confirmation now. This just coming in from the St. Lucie County Sheriff, Keith Pearson, confirming that there's been a loss of life because of this. This was one of the issues that we were worried about. It was tornadoes in advance of Hurricane Milton. They popped up, of course, here in Cocoa Beach and all across, really, the tornadoes hit in South Florida, and this one in Fort Pierce was the deadly one right now. They will not say how many people were killed, but they are confirming that folks have passed away because of tornadic activity down on the Atlantic coast side, not even the path of the hurricane. And you saw the sheriff's office also badly damaged there as well.
Yeah, that building just coming crashing down on those vehicles. Again, it's breaking right now. We just showed you that video that we just got into the Channel 9 newsroom. We're going to work to get more details for you as Milton makes its way to us. And 1.5 million customers at this hour here in Florida have no power. We'll have more right after this.
Stay with Channel 9 Eyewitness News as we track Milton.
Heartbeat of it has already left, but this is what we are all seeing happening in Tampa. And there you see, wow.
Goodness, look at, you hear Shannon.
That's a transformer that blew right there, live on TV.
It's just that fabric part of the dome that is shredded.
The flooding continues to get worse along here. In fact, just a little while ago, we had to move our vehicle to higher ground because the parking lots here are flooding.
I'm going to go in front of this building again because the wind is kind of really doing a number.
It is now Thursday. This is the day really of impact, although Wednesday has been a rough one for us in Central Florida. Hurricane Milton on the move towards Central Florida. Flash flood warnings. Maybe you heard the alerts. They are in effect for Orange, Osceola, Lake, Seminole, and Volusia counties. Good morning to you. I'm Greg Warmoth.
And I'm Martha Sigalski. Hurricane force winds will only continue to increase over the next few hours as Milton gets closer to us. We're already getting reports that trees are coming down in Ocala. Power lines are down as well. Mount Dora and St. Cloud experiencing the same thing, and we know more than 1.5 million customers in Florida now without power. These are live updates, the very latest numbers happening in our state.
Another place that we're really keeping a close watch on, and those numbers are all over the board there, as you see. I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be a lot more than 1.5. This is a live look from Tampa, looking down on an area that has absolutely taken a beating. That road right there, it looks like a river. That's just one example. This is the shot of where that transformer blew. And then St. Petersburg is really, really taken quite a blow. We saw an example of that. The place that houses thousands of emergency workers, the linemen and line women that are going to restore power, had the roof blown off. That dome, the stadium where the Tampa Bay Rays play, is no more. And it's just another example of the strength of this storm, a storm that now that we're past midnight into Thursday, this is the main impact point for Central Florida that we have talked about and focused, and this is what you are ready for. This is why you made your hurricane preparations, because it is now almost here. Tom?
It is, and we're still getting more and more power outages. We do have another, if we can put WEX 2 up real quickly before I walk over, Megan, punch that up. It is increasingly, we're losing power. A lot of it in Polk County right now. I just got a report out of Pittman Estates. The power went off and back on. That's up in the Apopka area. Orange County, 28,000, 90,000 in Polk County. And of course, we're in the purple where a lot of people were without power over in Tampa. They've had incredible flooding over there, 1 in 500+ year flood event in the Tampa area. And you can see the very high numbers here across Metro Orlando where the rain is coming down sideways here in Metro Orlando. Daytona Beach, we've already had hurricane force wind gusts. You see the wind gusts currently 60, 70, nearly 80 miles per hour. And the tote board here is going to go higher and higher throughout the area. And what I'm really worried about now, concerned, I want to make sure you're safe and inside and hunkered down with this, is the fact that we have a Cat 2, winds down to 100 as of the midnight update here. It is moving north-northeast at 16. The hurricane is here. Look where all the heavy rain and wind is. It's on the northeast side right now as the hurricane force winds spread out. So we're getting even worse and worse weather as this hurricane moves through. It'll move through offshore by around 6 o'clock in the morning and continuing to move away, but leaving behind a huge mess with lots of wind, rain, and this is the latest Doppler radar. And again, the storm is back here, and the heaviest weather is northeast. We're getting heavy wind and rain down in the Kissimmee, the Oak subdivision, 76 miles per hour. So hurricane force winds are verifying as we had all those county by county maps telling you what to expect. Fort Meade, this is, you can see the swirl. That's where the hurricane is. It's dried out down south, but it is not dry to the north. So that's why we have flash flood emergencies, where we're going to get probably another 6 to 8 inches of rainfall on top of the 5 to 7 that we have already had. That will verify those heavy rain totals that we've been showing over and over and over the last several days. And every time I do a hurricane like this, I was telling David and Brian in the Weather Center, I still just can't believe that this is happening every time. But again, this is what the data tells us, is what the science tells us, and this is what's verifying right now. So Sanford over toward Daytona, very heavy wind and rain. Here's future track midnight now. Heavy rain is pretty much locked in and working toward the east, and this will be very windy, rainy, and all the way through 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Stay hunkered, and even after daybreak, it's going to get even windier along the coast because there's a large wind field back behind this hurricane now. So we will continue to verify some hurricane force wind gusts probably through 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and that again is going to continue to create more damage across central Florida, and we're going to get surge after this. High tide is going to be around 2 o'clock. So we're just kind of getting the midnight hour started. We still have all night of the weather continuing to be a problem here with this hurricane, guys.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. And we are going to go back to someone who has been really in the heart of this storm. She has been away. She can't even be in it because the winds are so strong. Our Shannon Butler has been in Tampa. She and her photographer are in a hotel. But what you've seen, transformers blowing, fire, the parts of the roof coming off. And we understand you're going to be in this for a couple more hours, Shannon.
Yeah. What I wanted to hear from Tom Terry. I thought we were almost over this. In fact, we just came out here a little while ago, and I said to Carrie, oh, look, it looks like we're getting a break. That was only for a second. Take a look. We're still taking on water here along these streets. That is a school across the street. And pretty much this road and in front of the school now is a river. We tried to see if we could get the light to shine far enough that we could see. It appears that that school may be taking on some water, that flash flooding is now up near that school. That school is not a shelter. It is empty, but it appears that that water is dangerously close to the front doors of that school here. 275 over here. Still just glass. It looks like glass across it because of all that wind and all that rain. It's not flooded, but it would be very difficult to drive. That wind just will not let up for us at all. The power continues to go out here. When you look down the road, you'll see sections of it now, that power out. There's a few buildings that still have it on, but a lot of this area here, if they don't have generators, that power has gone out. So far, our roof is holding up a little bit better here at the hotel. Those gusts not coming as much as they were a couple of hours ago. But this area just is not getting a break, and they still have a few hours here to go through tonight. This is very, very heavy wind, some of the heaviest I've seen as we've covered the storms. Martha, Greg.
Yeah, and again, what a veteran that Shannon is, and even veterans of hurricanes have sent us messages. Thank you, Shannon. We'll let you guys duck inside and into some more protection. We'll come right back out there. And I just received another text that this is the worst hurricane a longtime Central Floridian had ever been through.
And you called it earlier. We were at 1.5 million customers.
2 million now.
Now we're at 2 million. Most likely that number will continue to go up.
That's 1 in 10 people in the state of Florida right now, because there's 21 million of us.
Well, you asked, you gave out the call.